You know, it's the greatest honor of my life to serve as Vice President to President Donald Trump. And as you heard again today, President Trump is a man of his word, and he's a man of action. We're making America prosperous again. We're making America safe again. And history will record that President Donald Trump is the greatest friend of the Jewish people ever to sit in the Oval Office of the White House. It's true. But it's great to be among friends. And we've had an amazing few weeks in our party, haven't we? I mean, think about it. House Republicans upheld the president's declaration of a national emergency on our southern border. The Green New Deal got 0 votes in the United States Senate. And the last inch of the ISIS caliphate was captured by the armed forces of the United States of America and our allies. The ISIS caliphate is no more. And after 2 years of investigation and reckless accusation by many Democrats and members of the media, the special counsel confirmed what President Trump said all along. There was no collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia during the 2016 election. Now, while the Democrats will continue to cling to these discredited allegations, to bring more obstruction, more resistance, and more of their liberal policies forward, you can be confident. The President and I are going to continue to focus where we always have, on the issues most important to America, a stronger and more prosperous country and a safer world, which is exactly what we've done from the first day of this administration. You know, when you look back at the last 2 years, under President Donald Trump, I think there's only one way you can describe it. It's been 2 years of action. It's been 2 years of results. It's been 2 years of promises made and promises kept. But we're just getting started, R.J.C. With the support of all of you in this room, we elected Republican governors in Ohio, in Florida, in South Dakota, and in states around the Union. We expanded our majority in the United States Senate, and with your help, we're going to win again in 2020 when we re-elect President Donald Trump for 4 more years. So it's been promises made and promises kept. I mean, think about it. President Trump promised to roll back federal regulations when we were campaigning, regulations that were stifling our economy. And with your strong support, this president has signed more laws cutting federal red tape than any president in American history. This president promised to unleash American energy. We approved the Keystone and Dakota pipelines. We withdrew the United States from the job-killing Paris Climate Accord. And today, the United States is the world's largest producer of oil and natural gas. The president promised to forge new trade deals that put American jobs and American workers first. We negotiated a better deal for America. The United States-Mexico-Canada agreement is now sent to Capitol Hill, and as we speak, we're standing strong for a more free, fair, and reciprocal trading relationship with China that protects the private property rights of Americans and American businesses. And this president kept his promise with strong support from Republican majorities in the House and the Senate when he passed legislation that cut taxes across the board for working families, small businesses, and companies across the nation. The largest tax cut and tax reform in American history. And the results have been nothing short of extraordinary. In just over 2 years, businesses large and small have created 5.5 million new jobs. Just yesterday, we announced the economy added nearly 200,000 jobs in the month of March alone, exceeding expectations and extending the longest streak of consecutive months of job growth in American history. The stock market is soaring. Nearly 5 million Americans have been lifted off food stamps. The unemployment rate is at a 50-year low, and there's more Americans working today than ever before. Everywhere you look in America, thanks to this president's leadership, strong Republican support on Capitol Hill, confidence is back. Jobs are back. In a word, America is back, and we're just getting started. But you know, it hasn't been just about jobs. We've also strengthened the foundation of our economy. This president has actually appointed more conservative judges to our federal courts in the last 2 years than any administration in American history. And that doesn't even include Justice Neil Gorsuch or Justice Brett Kavanaugh. And these judges are all strong conservatives who will uphold the Constitution and defend all the God-given liberties enshrined in our Bill of Rights and in our founding documents, like the freedom of speech, the freedom of religion, the Second Amendment right to keep and bear arms, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And with this renewed respect for the rule of law, this president and our administration have been standing strong with the brave men and women who serve in law enforcement at every level across this nation. We're giving the men and women of law enforcement the resources and the respect that they deserve every single day. And that includes the courageous men and women of Customs and Border Protection. You know, just yesterday, we were in Houston, Texas, where we met with officers of immigrations and customs enforcement. These are courageous men and women who put their lives on the line to enforce our immigration laws every day. Every single day, they break up human trafficking rings. They apprehend dangerous criminals and intercept drugs that are pouring across our southern border. I delivered a message to them on behalf of the president and all of you. I told them we will always stand with the men and women who enforce our immigration laws, and we will never abolish ICE. Make no mistake about it. No matter what you hear from the Democrats and their allies in the media, we have a crisis at our southern border, and it's like nothing we've ever seen before. As the president said earlier today, we're on track to apprehend more than 1 million illegal immigrants at our southern border this year alone. Last week, Customs and Border Patrol saw more than 4,000 illegal immigrants attempt to enter our country in a single day, the highest they've seen in nearly a decade. And in March, CBP saw more than 100,000 enforcement actions, more than they've seen in the last 10 years. For the first time ever, the majority of illegal immigrants coming into our country are unaccompanied minors and families who are being exploited by drug cartels and human traffickers on the long and dangerous journey north. Now, Democrats say it's a manufactured crisis, but the only thing manufactured is their outrage. As President Trump has said many times, if you don't have a border, you don't have a country. That's why, since the first days of this administration, we've been working to secure our border, enforce our laws. And we've already started to build that wall on the southern border of the United States. You know, every day that we don't secure our border, we're allowing this crisis to worsen and for lives to be endangered on both sides of the border. That's why President Trump took such strong action for border security when he used his authority to declare a national emergency at our southern border. And we're grateful for the support on Capitol Hill for the President's measure among Republicans in the House and the Senate. Bottom line, the President is doing his job. Border Patrol agents are doing their job. It's time for Congress to do its job and close the loopholes in our immigration laws that are driving the humanitarian crisis on our southern border. Congress must act, and Congress must act now. But let me promise you, whatever Democrats want to do to deny and obstruct our efforts to address this crisis, we're going to build that wall. We're going to secure our border, and we're going to fix this broken immigration system once and for all. So we've got this economy growing. We're restoring law and order for the American people, and under President Donald Trump's leadership, I'm proud to say we've also made the strongest military in the history of the world stronger still. The armed forces of the United States of America are the greatest force for good the world has ever known. And the men and women who serve in our armed forces today not only make our nation more secure, they make their families and the American people proud every day. And from our very first year in office, this president has put the interest and the support of our armed forces first. And President Donald Trump signed the largest investment in our national defense since the days of Ronald Reagan. We're rebuilding our military. We're restoring the arsenal of democracy. And we're once again giving our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guard the resources they need to accomplish their mission and come home safe. And with that renewed American strength, I'm proud to say the United States is once again embracing our role as leader of the free world. As the President said just a few short hours ago from this podium, America is respected again. And with that respect, we're standing with our allies and we're standing up to our enemies. We've brought the rogue regime in North Korea to the negotiating table. We're standing strong to restore liberty and democracy in Venezuela. Our NATO allies are contributing more to our common defense than ever before, and we've taken the fight to radical Islamic terrorists on our terms on their soil. And under President Donald Trump, if the world knows nothing else, the world knows this: America stands with Israel. You know, it's the greatest honor of my life to serve as your vice president alongside a president who cares so deeply about the state of Israel. We stand with Israel today for the same reasons the American people have always stood with Israel. Her cause is our cause. Her values are our values. And her fight is our fight. We stand with Israel because we believe in right over wrong, in good over evil, in liberty over tyranny. President Trump promised that Israel would have the resources and the tools to defend itself by itself. And I'm proud to report that American support for the security of the state of Israel has never been stronger. And Israel's military is stronger than ever before. And we've taken action to strengthen Israel's position. President Trump promised to shut down the PLO office in Washington, D.C. if the Palestinian Authority refused to take immediate steps to stop funding terrorists who murder innocent Israeli civilians. And when the PLO refused, President Trump shut it down. And today, thanks to so many of you and thanks to the strong leadership of Senator Lindsey Graham, the Taylor Force Act is now the law of the land. When President Trump promised to cut off funding to anti-Israel agencies at the UN, he meant that too. And last year, the United States ended all U.S. contributions to UNRWA at the UN. And of course, last year, President Trump did what prior administrations had promised to do, what Congress had said America would do. He had the courage to do when he moved the American embassy to Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. And as though all of that wasn't enough to affirm the strong ties between the United States and our most cherished ally, as Prime Minister Netanyahu said last month, he did it again. For 20 years after Israel's rebirth, Syria held the Golan Heights with its massive artillery. It held Israel hostage. That crucial region changed hands only after Israel won a war that was forced upon her. And for generations, leaders recognized the Golan Heights as critical to the strategic security of the state of Israel. But President Trump didn't just recognize that reality, he took action. And for the first time in 52 years, the President of the United States formally recognized Israel's sovereignty over the Golan Heights. Now, I want to assure you the President made these decisions in the best interests of the United States. But he also believed they were in the best interests of peace. Because a lasting peace can only be built on a foundation of truth. And I promise you, we will work for peace. We will pray for the peace of Jerusalem, that those who love her will be secure. I promise you, as discussions are underway, it may well require compromise. But under this president and this administration, the United States of America will never compromise the safety and security of the state of Israel. President Trump and I are proud to stand with all of you today, tomorrow, and always to strengthen the ties that bind the American people and the people of Israel. We've been standing with our allies, but as I said, we've also been standing up to our enemies, especially the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism, the Islamic Republic of Iran. And President Trump kept his word. Early in this administration, when he withdrew the United States of America from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. The Islamic Republic of Iran supports terrorist proxies. It fuels conflicts in the region. It plots terrorist attacks on European soil. And it openly advocates the destruction of the state of Israel. You know, in February, Karen and I stood and prayed at the Auschwitz-Birkenau Nazi death camp in Poland. It was our first time ever to visit that place. And it was a deeply moving experience. As we walked about those deserted grounds, we saw the gas chambers, the piles of personal effects, the little shoes. It reinforced our resolve that our answer to this unspeakable tragedy for this and every generation must be never again. Never again. Never again. I can assure you, under President Trump's leadership, America will continue to stand strong against Iran's malign influence and its threats. This president will also, and this administration will also, ensure that America will never allow Iran to obtain a nuclear weapon. As I just reflected moments ago, history teaches that when an authoritarian regime breathes out vile anti-Semitic hatred and threats of violence, we must take them at their word. Anti-Semitism is not just wrong, it's evil. And anti-Semitism must be confronted wherever and whenever it arises, and it must be universally condemned. It's remarkable to think that last month Democrats in Congress could not bring themselves to unilaterally condemn anti-Semitic tropes that were distributed by one of their members. And last week, you deserve to know that nearly every Democrat member of the House of Representatives voted to block legislation that would reject the BDS movement. It's astonishing to think that the party of Harry Truman, which did so much to help create the state of Israel, has been co-opted by people who promote rank anti-Semitic rhetoric and work to undermine the broad American consensus of support for Israel. Anti-Semitism has no place in the Congress of the United States of America, and anyone who slanders those who support this historic alliance should never have a seat on the Foreign Affairs Committee of the House of Representatives. As you heard today at this very program, and I can assure you, under President Donald Trump's leadership, America will always stand with the Jewish people. We will always condemn anti-Semitism, and America will always stand with Israel. So in just 2 years under President Trump's leadership, from the world stage to here at home, America is winning again. And I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm not getting tired of it at all. But to keep on winning, the American people have a choice to make in the next year and a half. It's a choice of whether we let Democrats take America on a hard left turn and lose all the gains that we fought so hard to attain, or whether we re-elect a president who's fighting every day to make America great again. That's the choice. Now, I know the choice you'll make, but we need to make sure it's the choice that America makes. That America chooses more strength, more jobs, more security. And that America chooses 4 more years of President Donald Trump. The truth is, the stakes have never been higher, and the choice has never been clearer. And it won't be enough just to win the next election. We've got to win the next generation. You know, America was founded on a simple but profound principle. And that principle is freedom. But today, Democrats openly advocate an economic system that has impoverished millions around the world. And that system is socialism. But it was freedom not socialism, that gave us the most prosperous economy in the history of the world. It was freedom, not socialism, that ended slavery, won 2 world wars, and stands today as the beacon of hope for the world. It was freedom, not socialism, that's moving us beyond the prejudices of the past to create a more perfect union and extend the blessings of liberty to every American, regardless of race or creed or color. And it was freedom, not socialism, that gave us the highest quality of life, the cleanest environment on earth, and improved the health and well-being of millions around the world. It was freedom. I mean, what Medicare for all really means is quality health care for none. And the only thing green about the so-called Green New Deal is how much green it's going to cost all of us if they ever sign it into law. You know, Margaret Thatcher probably said it best. The trouble with socialism is you eventually run out of other people's money. You know, the moment America becomes a socialist country is the moment America ceases to be America. And so we must say with one voice, as President Trump said to the nation, America will never be a socialist country. For the sake of our freedom, we must say no to socialism and yes to liberty, prosperity, and the pro-growth agenda that's improving the lives and opportunities for millions of Americans. But we can't do this alone. We need the R.J.C. to step up as never before. That's why we both wanted to be here today. We need you to roll your sleeves up in the days ahead. Knock on the doors, make the phone calls. We need you to give of your time and your talent and your treasure to support this cause, as it's going to be a fight. Now, the conventional wisdom says that there's going to be a battle ahead. But I think you all know what President Trump thinks of conventional wisdom. We made history in 2016, and we're going to make history again in 2020 when we re-elect President Donald Trump to the White House. So I want to encourage you. Whatever you've done before, do more. Be ready to take our case to your neighbors and your friends across this nation. As you heard from the President today, we're ready for the fight. We're determined to keep building on the progress that we've made. My fellow Republicans, you know you elected a fighter in 2016 to be President of the United States, and I'm asking you to keep on fighting right through November 3rd, 2020. As the President said today, we are the party of all Americans. We're the party of the American worker. We're the party of the American family. And we're the party of the American dream. You know, David Perdue, just a few moments ago, said that some people think the President and I are a little bit different. And, you know, the truth is, he's big city, I'm small town. He's larger than life, I'm not. But the truth of the matter is, as I've gotten to know him and we've become close friends over the last several years, we actually have a lot in common. It's the American dream. You see, his grandfather immigrated to this country, and so did mine. His father built a business with his own 2 hands for his family, and so did his. Now, for him, the guy who describes himself as a kid from Queens, he went across the river to build the big buildings. I followed a career into public service. You know, I tell people, other than a whole lot of zeros, President Trump and I have a lot in common. A lot of zeros. And it's a belief in the American dream. Not because we heard about it, but because we've lived it. I mean, that Irish immigrant that I was named after, his Irish brogue still rings in my heart. And the truth of the matter is, that's what our party's all about. When you see the passion of this president that you saw today at this very podium, and you see all that we've accomplished, I just want to assure you that it's animated because President Trump and I believe in the boundless capacity of every American to live the American dream. And we are going to keep fighting until that dream becomes a reality for every American family. That's what it's all about. That's the story we have to go and tell. We have to tell what we've done to strengthen our nation, make America more secure, tell what we've done to roll back taxes and regulations and unleash American energy, to strengthen the constitutional foundation of our courts and to stand tall in the world again. We have to go tell the story. Tell the story of all that Republican leadership has accomplished with your support over the last 2 years. And I truly believe that if we lay out the choice facing the American people in every moment that remains between now and November 3rd, 2020. If we hold the banner of freedom high, if we put into practice those ancient words inscribed on the Liberty Bell to proclaim liberty throughout all the land and unto all the inhabitants thereof, that the American people will rally to our cause. We will keep on winning. America will keep on growing. We will re-elect Republican leaders to offices all across the land, from state houses to the Congress. We will renew Republican majorities in the House and Senate, and we will re-elect President Trump for 4 more years. And with President Donald Trump in the White House, with renewed Republican leadership at every level, and with God's help, we will finish what we started. We will make America prosperous again, more prosperous than ever before. We will make America safe again, safer than ever before. And to borrow a phrase, we will make America great again. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.